All right, so a couple of big updates. I've recorded a few videos since look, okay, sorry. First things first, I now have a face cam. Why? Because I broke 1,000 on chess.com. That was my personal goal. Was if I break 1,000, I'll do a face cam and I'll start trying to put face cams in my videos. That being said, I don't want the big face cam, so you get tiny little Coach Lord Scuba face cam. With that being said, I've been above 1,000, not 2,000, for probably, let's say, a month, give or take. And obviously, what happened is I did this game and immediately lost 5 games in a row, and then spent the rest of the month climbing back to 1,000. Now I'm 1,000 again. So woohoo! I have recorded a bunch of videos, but what happens is I record the videos, I don't like the videos, I delete the videos, and I don't post the videos. So now we have 3 games to go through, and we're just going to do a monster video. So 3 games to go through, and then a nice little tactic, and kind of what I think where I'm at as far as like tactics and everything like that, or like playing. So let's get into the first game. This is the Lord Scuba going above 1,000 game. E4, B6. You know exactly what he's doing. He's going to fee and Keto. And then he pushes out. And so now there's 2 attackers automatically with 1 defender. Looking at this, I saw 2 different ways to defend my... Well, I see 3, right? I can take my bishop here. I can push up. And that's the 2. So I thought I would try and be tricky. I didn't want to lock in my light squared bishop like that. I didn't want to move my bishop and lock in my dark squared bishop. So both of these have problems that I don't necessarily like. And I don't want to just leave it and end up giving up one of my knights, right? So I do this tricky move. Now, this isn't like, if you're wanting an evaluation bar, we can do evaluation bars, just so you can have a physical representation of kind of what it looks like. Okay, this is still even. They push up, and here I go back. Going back because I'm trying to... I thought they would do their knights, and then this is now... only got 1 attacker, 1 defender, not a big deal. Pushing up the pawn basically does the same thing. The only thing is it does give them a tempo when they push their other pawn. So now we're attacking this twice. We are risking it being trapped, but we push up our A pawn, bishop to A2, and we don't have those same issues. Now, it can get a little goofy when you start trying to deal with the knight. So I am a little, in my opinion, susceptible to a pawn storm on the queen side. They don't do that. They push a different pawn. So now this is overprotected by 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, and it's only attacked by 3. I push up because I don't want them pushing their pawn down and starting to try and harass my knights. And then they push up. This just drops a pawn. Granted, it gives them this A5 diagonal to the king. Well, it's also a fork. I felt kind of dumb about this, and I was like, oh man, why didn't I see that? Except the good part is I get to defend with my knight. So you're not losing a piece in this situation. It's not great. It doesn't feel good, but hey, you're not losing. This I thought was a really good move as it attacks my knight. I don't have, I can go wherever, but I can't take it back, at least right now. So I try this intermezzo. Obviously, we can look at the evaluation and see it's a bad idea, but hey, whatever. I just give away a piece and help development. So if you're wondering why that was bad, I gave away a piece with development. So, like, not necessarily material, but, why would I do that? Whatever. Anyway, so I come back here. Now, what you should notice is this is no longer pinned, so this pawn is now hanging. Are they going to defend it? No, they're going to attack because I don't think they realize that this pawn, and, I say this not at 1042, but I do think I have a little bit of insight. And so then they drop a pawn, and now they're starting to pile up on my knight here. And I decide to go after their pawn on this side, just trying to create counterplay. These knights are defending each other. Plus, it is defended by the dark squared bishop, so my queen can kind of go off and do its own thing. They could push up, but now you're starting to really look like you have a dark square problem. Uh-oh, you have a dark square problem. So I go ahead and castle at this point. Oh, look at that. Get an advantage. Advantage gone. Anyway, does not matter. And then they come out. So I was worried more about, say, here, or not moving the knight at all, because I'm looking at this square, realizing that this would be a strong check. And here, I actually see the winning tactic, if you will. And I think this is kind of what's pushing me towards the improvement that I want, or towards my ELO rating of 1,000, which is not a lot. I am proud of it though. Is my ability to, like, here I see the tactics. So if it's not necessarily staring me in the face, but absolutely do I see it. Anyway, the only reason I took as much time as I did, so like 1 minute 3 seconds, is looking at it, is I can't figure out what to do if they go here. So I have a check. Boom, boom, boom. This is what I'm seeing. And then that's checkmate if they go there. So what if they go here? And that's not something I've super looked at. I should, because it's definitely something that needed to be answered. I think we're just still playing chess, and I have a monster knight on a crazy outpost that in 2 pawn moves will never be moved off of that square. But I go here, and they unfortunately go the worst way. Now, it's not super bad. They have defense. They have a defense here, for sure. And it can really beat me up a little bit if they're not. And so this move right here, I've seen it. This is an empty threat. But I want to scare them, because I don't know if they see the real threat, and they don't. Now, the optimal move here, I've looked into it, is actually to attack the queen. You come out here. Well, yeah, you come out here. If I take the queen, I lose my queen with a pretty nasty thing here, and then I lose a piece. And so actually, this is super strong. For that reason is I'm sacrificing my queen for a queen and a piece. Or, let's see, you come here, say I come here, you can come here, and then I come here. Here, it's just not fantastic. And then I just straight up lose somehow. Who knows? I haven't delved super hard into these lines. It's been a minute. They unfortunately do not see it, and they put it there. It's made him 1. I was super proud of this because it's one of the first times I've been able to, oh, come on, go to the final position. One of the first times I was able to, like, see a tactic more than 1 or 2 moves ahead and position myself to benefit from that tactic. So now we're going to take this game, and we're going to go to our next game. This was played a few days ago. I'm not playing a lot of games like per day right now, just because time is severely limited. But we're doing a King's Pawn opening. Now, we've had this before, if you remember. And as you can see now, I'm still at 1,015, so I went back under 1,000, and now I'm, back up to my all-time high. Woot woot. So we've seen this knight move before, and and this is a book move of not worrying about defending the pawn. The pawn's gone. And what I can do here is keep it kind of, I have more development. Now they've moved their piece twice. So it's like, okay, cool. I now have multiple tempi. They're bringing their queen out. I don't really understand it. I just push my pawn. It's opening an attack on the knight. It's, doing a few different things. Here I start to get a little worried because I'm ahead in development, but their pieces are getting real close to my boy. And then this take is not good. Oh, I guess we can do the evaluation bar. Here I'm crushing. Oh, no. Crushing is a strong word, but here I'm ahead just for the simple amount of development I have. There is a tactic to where you can come here, takes, and then you come up here for a fork, but it doesn't work exactly right now. Like if it was maybe here, I think, or on a light square, you don't really get the bishop. But I do know, I have looked at this one a little bit. They want you to take back, and then you come here. I just don't know what the, oh, yeah. Okay, so I'll show it to you. I just saw it. Takes, check, even say they go back, and you've won a pawn. So you win a pawn. Woohoo! There you go. There's the tactic. I didn't see that till just now. And pawns are super important. I will sacrifice all of my pieces to be a pawn up in an end game of just a pawn and a king. So I take here, just equalize it. It's not great. It does allow the queen to get a little closer. I decide to develop. I have been developing to d2 with my knight a little bit more, especially with the pieces around my king. I kind of want to just reinforce because I do fear that they're going to try some kind of like takes, and then my pawn side is disturbed, and I think that would probably actually be a little bit better for this person, black. Anyway, they develop, and then when they develop here, I realize, oh, my pawn's a little weak. They castle, adding another attacker. I decide to, because I have my pawns advanced already a little bit, I want to start a bit of a pawn push up the queen side. Here I thought was a mistake, because part of the reason I didn't want to push my b pawn was I didn't know what to do with my if the knight came to e5. So, and yeah, I could take, and that's protected, but then the problem is, well, you can't take because this is pinned, right? And so the knight coming here didn't really work. And it also applies pressure to this piece here, so you can now take and you can't take back. So this was, for the knight, a really scary move. For a pawn, not as much. I'm pushing forward just to harass the king's best defender. They go back. I calculated that. I come up wanting this pawn. It's a very surface level threat because they're just gonna push forward and, like, yeah, according to the evaluation bar, I'm winning, but according to me, I don't have a lot to do. So I push up again, trying to break open that king side and get in behind him. And then this move, again, ignore the evaluation bar. I thought this was a good move, or at least a decent move. And I decide, so I'm working over here, and, we're not really good, but I decide to create a problem over here. This pawn is now hanging. It's attacked twice and defended once. And so I'm like, oh, let me get that pawn. Boop. And then I have this, like, I'm threatening this fork, so you can no longer really move the queen easily. They instead decide to force the issue. I move back. I think they wanted me to take, but then you trade the queens, and I didn't really want to trade the queens. Now, if they do trade the queens, though, here, I mean, this is just way better. Oh, no, it's not way better. Here, and maybe I just come up here. Boop. And then up here. And then we figure out what to do. What would I do in this situation? I think here this actually works. It doesn't. Why doesn't it? Come forward. No, I do this too often. If I want to go down obscure random lines, I can do that on my own time and not in a video. I apologize. Anyway, so I come back. I don't want to trade queens, and I want to trade on my terms, get my knight a little closer to the center. They decide to take as well. I take this pawn. You can't touch me. And then I come back, right? And these, again, the evaluation bar is, I'm not going to play perfect in 1000 elo. Get out of here. And then this part, I took, 2 minutes and 22 seconds trying to figure it out. Check. So what am I trying to figure out? Is this a good move? Did I completely wreck it? And what I was figuring out was they got to come, the king has to go to d7 only move. I don't think there's another move that can be done. Not a single one. So they have to come to d7. So what are our candidate moves? Well, get another check in, and it defends the rook, right? Wrong. That stops it immediately. So now, how do I protect the rook? And I couldn't figure it out. And yeah, you can come here, but I don't know. I didn't really like that, right? I thought that was too slow because I wanted another check. Now, I disregarded this move completely because of pawn to b5. That just hurts, right? And say you come here and then the knight takes, and then maybe you can come here. Well, it's not looking so easy. We'll look at that later. Doesn't matter. Anyway, they move. I move the rook. I decide on a slightly slower move to keep my rook safe. I do think that this is a playable position, especially at 1000 elo. Ignore the eval bar until they hang a full rook. I don't know what the plan is here because even taking that pawn also didn't work. So now I'm just up 6 points of material, and if you don't have immediate compensation for that kind of sacrifice, like a mate, good luck. I mean, yeah, this rook is kind of out of the game, but not really. So I move with a check. They come down. You can't touch my rook anymore. You're off the back rank. I can come out. This is a protected knight. You have to come over. And I got a free horse. Sick, right? Like, oh no. Oh, I blundered. Of course I did. I'm 1000 elo. We ain't no 23 hundos. I'm gonna hang a piece. It does the sun set? Anyway, I hang a piece, and then for me, the heartbreaking one is I'm still winning really, really hard. And I think there's a lot of different moves that I could make to continue winning really hard. Heck, I could sacrifice the ding-dang rook, right? And take and just move this out of the way, I guess. I don't know. But I mouse slip. Yeah. And, you know, my daughter's going crazy and everybody's crazy, and I mouse slip. Now, I could have taken this. I actually don't think this would have been a bad idea. But yeah, I mouse slip and I give it away. But then they give me their rook. I don't understand that one either, because in my mind, just taking here would be the best move. Okay. And then they check, and then they take. So some of these just didn't make the most sense in the world. And here I decide to pin the pawn. And we do a combination of a terrible endgame and not a bad endgame. This was okay. Coming up here, so I've analyzed this to death. This, for some reason, I think it's just, it kind of puts my queen a little bit out of play for like a move or two, which is why it's equalized, because black can just come around and eat my pawns. And so now it's equal. And that's kind of what I want to work on personally, is these like checks that don't do anything. Yeah. Are these checks that don't do anything. Now, what's the best move here? Now, so upon analysis, it was to prepare this move. Right now, this king almost can't go anywhere, and I'm looking at this pawn here. So probably it was here, here. If you go there, I don't know. But I go with the move that equalizes completely. They can't take the pawn, right? And so I eat a pawn. So now it's even again, but they have a little more counterplay. And I'm low on time, as you can see. The king is annoyingly secure in this little corner. Quite annoying. And now I'm like, okay, I got to bring my king into it. King activity is going to be kind of a big deal. It's crazy. Every time I try and record a video, something happens. I allow this this check to happen. I move, and now I mean, if you see this move, it does something, right? I'm starting to get a little worse. Uh-oh. But unfortunately, my opponent is also 1,000, and also is not an endgame master. This was a goof move, kind of. Looking at it right now, I don't hate it. It would be a very difficult win. So takes. I'm gonna run over here and gobble these pawns and hope, like with a little chess hope, that, because the only way they get around is like the fastest way is to come this way. And so that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Or they push it in such a way that I can blockade with my knight here. And, you know, so I have 2 pieces. I have a little more time. I think I could maybe do it. I don't know. But then they move. They're doing really well. Oh, I'm not doing great. And through these checks, though, if you look, the checks aren't helping very much. And now they're like, oh, you know what? Instead of all these checks, let's push pawns. And I don't hate it. It's dead even, but I don't hate it. I'm trying to give the game away a little bit. And here I'm like, how am I going to stop these pawns? And I realize I have a threat, right? They can take, and I take with check. I get this pawn. Or not really. Like, I take, they come back. I can come, can't go there. No, they'd have to go here. I can take again. I can start, you know, messing with them. But then this is the critical mistake. This, boom. Mate in 3. And here I saw the mate in 3, right? Takes. You can't take back, but I've also created an artificial back rank. Oh. It's sad. It's sad. Puzzle Rush. And so these are kind of the games I'm playing right now. I think I did really well. the computer doesn't say I blundered. I think I made a few fatal mistakes. It absolutely was not fun to blunder and then mouse slip immediately after. And then finally, I am going to show you kind of like just a fun tactic I was able to see and really surprise my opponent with. This was a classical game I played. Everything's pretty symmetrical. They're doing like a weird ordered London they talked about. And here's the critical part, right? Here I'm trying to figure out, do I want to take? And I don't want to take, right? It's even. They're a little bit better. But I want to go back. So what is the main fear that I have when going back is, they're going to chase me. And they're going to try and trap. And then eventually they get taken. And so I follow that, right? My greatest, like, what's the worst thing they can do? And if they just put me back here, great. I'm still doing kind of what I want to do. But if they come and they take, their pieces are right here. That blunders a pawn. This pawn's undefended because if you take back, you're going to lose your rook. You come up, you're going to lose your queen. I saw this at this point, and it's one of the prouder chess moments I saw. A basic tactic. And so, for the most part, it happened until this part. Like, you don't have to take. You can continue to develop and leave this pressure. Because taking is a giant blunder, right? And so then it's like, okay, keep developing. I have my pawn chain. I'm going to keep them out here. At this point, I'm like, you can't castle long side or king side. You have to castle queen side. Okay, they're going to castle queen side. Boom. And I think this was a great move because nothing's defending it except this pawn. So if I take this, just you're not castling, right? You're not gonna castle with queens on the board and you staring me in the face. And meanwhile, I'm delaying castling, and I've done this in a few games where I'll just delay castling and give it a second just to see where they go because I don't want to castle king side because if they castle queen side and do a pawn push, this is gonna stink. It's really gonna suck for me. If they start pushing pawns on their queen side, well, I don't necessarily want to deal with that either, and I can then kind of meet force where it goes. So here, though, the tactic shows itself. I just want a pawn. That's a clean pawn. And go here. They are attacking my boy. Now, could I have pushed this pawn? That's a discussion for later, I think, because I'm like, nah, I don't need it. And it must be, it's either not good or not bad because the evaluation bar stayed the same. But now I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this square. I want my knight there. I like that. It's an outpost. Kind of, not really. So then they start moving. I move back. Why did I move back? I wanted to protect this square here. So it's very clear threat that they're going to come here and fork and win a rook. I don't necessarily want that. And here stuff gets a little tied up on the queen side, and I think it's really interesting. This I think was also a mistake. I'd rather have gone here so that I can support my knight. So takes. This would be terrible. This would be just awful. But you know what I'm saying. A queen for 2 rooks. Yeah, still bad. Still bad. I'm not so good with my pieces that I can just discount that. I also did not necessarily mind this, right? I can still protect what I want to protect. They want to push up. I push back. I don't want them coming any further. If they want to take, okay, I'm going to take with my knight, and then I'm going to throw my knight up here, and I'm looking at, various things that I can do. Here, let's see. Oh yeah, my opponent did ask why I didn't kick this knight. and that's because the only square they can realistically go to is this one. And when we talked about it in the postmortem, that leads here, that leads it leads to a lot more play than I wanted that knight to have. Here, they can't do anything, and I'm fine with that at this exact time. Unfortunately, they hang their queen at this point. I take and they resign. But it was a great game. I felt like really positionally strong with the ability to okay, start calculating what are their threats and everything like that. So the final game we're going to go over, this is the last one, is from the Internet Chess Club. I wanted to try it out. I wanted to see what it was about. I logged in as a guest, and this is the video. This is the game I played as a guest. And while I don't know my opponent's rating, I think we were close enough, right? I think it was a closer game than I thought I would get just randomly jumping on a random chess site and, whatever. So again, we're doing the normal setup. We actually get into a 4 knights. Okay, I go for the 4 knights Spanish. Now, the funny thing is I know this is called a 4 knights Spanish. Do I know anything after this? No, because I'm not good at memorizing stuff. And they come out, this is probably a move in the 4 knights Spanish. They want to protect this pawn. Sure, absolutely. I go ahead and castle because why not? They castle, and I push up. Now I'm just wanting to break open the center. They take with the knight, which I thought was really interesting because it kind of forces this whole trade. And at the end of the day, I believe, just touch it for a second. Yeah, it's super even, but I like my position more. They decide to kick my bishop. Now, you might be wondering, well, why didn't I go back this way? And that's because, to me, there wasn't enough play in the center for anything to be of use. And I would rather come back and protect this pawn because coming down here isn't going to do anything. Even if they come out and try the trade, that trick isn't going to work, right? I'm going to trade a bishop and give the queen an open file, if you saw all that. So maybe it could work on the king side, at least with the white pieces. But as for right now, I didn't think it worked at all. Pinning the knight. They don't unpin the knight, but they do attack the queen. This is my goof, right? This is not the best move because it allows tempo. I come up. They tempo me again. I do this weird queen walk. I'm so scared at this point that I'm going to get my queen just straight up trapped. But part of the reason I came here, instead of, say, back here or wherever, is because I'm hitting the rook. And you need to move your bishop, and then I figured I can just go here. And that's exactly what happened. I couldn't figure out which way they would go. I thought they would come out this way. But if they do that, then it's I get a free bishop, so I should have saw that. And here. I'm not sure what this move does, to be honest. I think it just prepares for a pawn advance. I move my knight, and sorry, I'm just looking to see if I see any crazy tactics that here takes. No. Anyway, I take back. Now, one of the reasons I take back is a very slight bit of hope chess, but it's that there's only one way to take this queen, and you can see the variations, but let me just show you real fast. If you take back with the bishop, I'm forking your rooks. If you take back with this rook, I'm forking your rooks with check this time. If you take back with this one, there's not a lot I can do, but I still have at least a place for my knight to go, even though it's not the best place. And then here I realize I just want to get rid of this, And the engine actually likes this move because it wants me to take back. Because it's fork, I have to get rid, and I'm about to open up the king and give double isolated pawns. So that's what they wanted me to do. I went the other way. I thought this fork looked nice. Afterwards, I did realize, like, oh, of course they can take back. And then they can not take back, but they can defend their piece with one of the forked pieces. So it essentially makes the fork not a thing. But here I realized, oh no, I can drop a pawn here, and I don't want to drop even a single pawn. So is my knight about to be trapped? Yeah. Do I play a goof move to save a pawn? Yeah. And then that allows them to play c4, attacking my bishop, so I have to respond to my bishop. There you go, and now my knight is trapped. My knight is just trapped. Not great. And so I see a tactic, right? And again, that's kind of the theme right now as I'm seeing these tactics, but it's like, what do I want? I want this on this file, and I want a way to get this pawn off of this file and to checkmate them. That's what I saw, right? And so that's kind of how I'm finding some of these tactics. It's like, oh, I want to, if I move here, take that. What is, like, alignments is kind of what I'm focusing on right now. So they come here. This bishop to e5 kind of messed me up a bit, right? If I come here, so the tactic was, right, say they make a random move. I come here with my knight. I'm attacking multiple things. If they take, I take. They can take, I take. But I'm threatening checkmate, and I have a better position, in my opinion. So they push their bishop there, I guess, to stop this and protect this, the bishop pair. Unfortunately, it doesn't necessarily actually change anything, because once we're here and I kind of, they want to push that issue, I go here, and it's the same thing, actually, with a different tactic, right? So now, here, if they take, I take, but I can attack this pinned piece. And if they take, I get checkmate. If they don't take, I get to have a piece. Now, just because you see these tactics does not mean that they're going to go perfectly. Takes, okay. And they have a check. Now, this is when Lord Scooby sucks, right? I did not see that they just hung a bishop. Now, at the end of the day, it does not necessarily change anything, because this bishop is stuck here due to the checkmate threat. So, did I miss it? Yes. Did I lose because I missed it? No, because takes, I come closer to further defend. Takes, and I'm still threatening checkmate, and you can't move your bishop out in time. And at this point, I see that, and I'm like, oh, sweet, thanks. And now they start moving, and now we're in the end game, and I'm up a light squared bishop. So what do? They start putting their stuff on light squares. I'm not the biggest fan of putting stuff on light squares with light squared bishop, but hey, that's just me. They start pushing on the queen side. I am weary of these three connected pawns with a bishop behind them. I push up because I don't want them to get a lot of momentum and break through this minority attack. And so they come in, takes, and I don't necessarily like also the passivity of my rook. It's fine, right? This is still fine. You're not breaking through with this, Hoss. Why? Is because if you come here, I take, you take, I take. And then you're here, sure, but I can just sit here, and you can't, my king's going to get to this pawn before the opponent's king. And this bishop is not going anywhere. So, although during the game I'm really worried about, any kind of pawn pushes on this side, there's no threat in my estimation, and I'm a piece up. So they come through. I would categorize this as a mistake because the king is completely frozen out of this side. And yeah, you can start breaking stuff up, but it's going to take a few, right? This move I also didn't understand. You could probably have pushed, and would it have been complicated? Yeah. But the problem will always remain that my king's a little faster with creating a certain threat. And you have to deal with that threat. Oh, you got to deal with that threat. Oh, you got to deal with that threat. And now I've destroyed the queen side, and I have a passed pawn. So you can come up here, right? Go back and try and like do all this stuff on the king side. But for every passive move you make, you just need to be so stinking active, because every passive move you make, I'm going to advance that pawn with the rook behind it, and you can't really stop it. Granted the promotion square, but hey, it is what it is. You know, I park it right here, put my bishop here, no, there. Like, there's ways, right? I have too many pieces, and a queen would just mop the floor with everything. So they attack my bishop. I struggled here to figure out where to put my line squared bishop. I chose this one just because it was active enough, and it stops the king from coming down, but it's already kind of frozen there. The rook comes back. I decide at this point that I'm a little nervous about the king side. I don't fully like it, right? Takes. And now you kind of have a passed pawn, but they decide to check. I come back. Now, initially, for half of a second, I thought of coming here and getting the pawn, but I didn't want to blunder a bishop. That would not be great. They push down. I push up. The idea behind pushing up, this wasn't the best move. This really wasn't the best move. Because if they take, right, I can take with my rook and threaten this, but they can just come here and defend it. And technically I could come over with my rook. I haven't looked. Look. These recaps. Okay. At this point, right when I play this move, I go, oh, what a goober. What a goober. I can pull my rook over, push it up, and push this boy back. They can't go anywhere. They're stuck. And they've closed the position. So they're going to have to go. This is where they would infiltrate. Way over here. If nothing changed, that is where they infiltrate. And even then, if I can get, something right here, you can't even infiltrate there. You have one square, whereas I have, I'd have to go here and here and here, but hey, it is what it is. So they come to the center. I decide to see. I saw what I saw, and I go up. My threat is bigger than your threat. Here, I think you could maybe make a case for trading off pieces. Not really. I'm pretty steadily in the lead here. I push up. I realize, oh, sick. I can actually just push them back further. And now, what we saw this in the other game. I've made a pseudo back rank. The only problem is this square that I need to cut off. Oh, wait. Now, did I do that on purpose? No, I did not. Call it fortuitous. But I decide also that I want to protect this pawn. Now, did I have to? No, because here, and there's not a lot to be done. But hey, I want to be thorough. I think they saw here exactly what was happening, and I move. I could have moved this way as well, but I don't know. And they resign here because you can't stop the checkmate. Maybe you could have gone back up here and defended a little bit more, but then my king has free reign. I'm going to start marching this pawn just straight up the board. Is what it is. So those were a few games that I've played in the past month or so. I will watch this and we will see if it's good enough to actually be uploaded. But we will see y'all later. Have a good one.